Today we are going to be reading Zen Ties by John Muth. But before we do this, I have some very special guests coming to see us today. This one's named Peanut and this one's named Cutie. They're both pandas, and see, they're kind of the same. So this one's going to pretend to be Cutie and this one's going to pretend to be Peanut. And this book is very special to me because it has some pandas in it, and because my teacher gave this to me. And she wrote something over here saying, "My dear Jacqueline, I love you so very much. You are so special. Love, Miss Donna." So now I'm going to read Zen Ties by John Muth. "Mom, there's a bear over there," said the little girl. "A what?" asked her mother. "A big panda bear," said the girl. "What's she doing?" "What's he doing?" asked the little girl's mother. "He's sitting. Maybe he's waiting for someone," said her mother. Stillwater was waiting for someone. He was waiting for the arrival of his nephew, too. Uncle Stillwater, summer, I have arrived. Seeing you bring smiles." "Hi, too," said Stillwater. "I brought you some welcome balloons." Coo took the balloons and bowed. "An uplifting gift. Could you carry my case, generous uncle?" asked Coo. It is a short walk to the house, but there is a nice park on the way. Let's stop there and have some tea," said Stillwater. Stillwater, Coo, and the balloons all sat quietly in the park. "Tea was very good. My cup holds emptiness now. Where shall I put it?" asked Coo. Stillwater did not like to waste. "We will use these cups every day while you are here, so we should save them." Suddenly, Stillwater burst out laughing. "That tickles," he said. "Hi, Stillwater," said his friends Addie, Michael, and Carl. "We were just coming to see you." "Hello," said Stillwater. "I would like you to meet my nephew, Coo." The children introduced themselves and everyone ran off to play. Addie invented a game called Jump on Stillwater. It was fun. Michael wanted to ask Stillwater a question. "I'm going to be in a spelling bee," Michael said. "What would you do if you were in a spelling bee?" "I would spell words," said Stillwater. Michael looked at his shoes. "What if you weren't sure of how good you were?" "I'm anxious about it. I feel like I'm going to mess up." "Do your best. That is what you are supposed to do," said Stillwater. "But it's hard to do my best when I'm nervous," said Michael. Stillwater nodded. Then he smiled. "Coo and I have to visit Mrs. Whitetalker this afternoon. I would like you and Carl and Addie to come along." "Mrs. Whitetalker, who lives on our street?" asked Addie. "That Mrs. Whitetalker," asked Carl. "She hates us. She She's really old and she spits when she talks. Every time we walk past her house, she shouts at us. She scares me. She's your friend, Michael asked. She's your friend? Michael asked. Stillwater looked at them. Yes, he said. She isn't feeling well and we must bring her something to eat. The children helped Stillwater prepare some soup. It smelled very good. Then they put it on a tray with some soft bread. As they walked quickly down the street, Stillwater said, Mrs. White Talker is a good friend. You will see. Why on earth did you bring these children here? Shouted Mrs. White Talker. The children backed away. Hello, Mrs. White Talker, said Stillwater. You look well today. We've brought you some nice soup. Carl looked at Mrs. White Talker. She did not look well at all. She looked thin and she looked small, much smaller than she did when she stood on the porch yelling at them from throwing a ball in their yard. In her yard. Stillwater helped Mrs. White Talker up to bed and he offered her the soup. Then he asked Addie to sweep the floors and he asked Michael to open the curtains and the blinds. Carl, hold the dustpan still, said Addie. Carl and Q are very good at drawing pictures, said Stillwater. I can't see pictures anymore, said Mrs. White Talker crossly. Carl and Q drew several pictures together. When it was time to leave, Stillwater put them up around Mrs. White Talker's bed. He told her they would come back tomorrow. Outside, the children said goodbye. Bye, said Carl. Bye, said Addie. See you tomorrow, said Stillwater. I don't know, said Michael. I should study for my spelling bee. You should come, said Stillwater. You should come early. The next morning, Stillwater told Michael, Mrs. White Talker used to teach English. She did? Asked Michael. Then Stillwater said, Mrs. White Talker, did you know Michael is going to be in a spelling bee? Well, said Mrs. White Talker, I know something about that. Now listen, just like plants, words have roots, Mrs. White Talker said. A plant grows from its roots and so do words. Roots of words can teach you to spell. And with that, Michael spent the morning with Mrs. White Talker studying for his spelling bee. The next day, Stillwater found Q looking up at the apple tree in Mrs. White Talker's front yard. Oh, hello, Stillwater, said a voice from up in the tree. Can you catch me? I was getting some apples for Mrs. White Talker, said Carl. This morning, sunlight gathering apples and a boy, said Q. After the spelling bee, Michael raced to Mrs. White Talker's. I did it, said Michael. I made it all the way through the end. Good, said Stillwater. So you were not too nervous. The judges were nothing compared to Mrs. White Talker, said Michael. Yeah, said Carl. Just this morning she was shouting at us. Then why are you smiling? Asked Stillwater. She was telling us to get out of the street and play in her yard. On the last day of Coo's visit, Michael presented Mrs. Whitehawker with the ribbon he got at the spelling bee. Carl gave her the apples he had gathered. My mother taught me to make apple tea, said Mrs. Whitehawker. I haven't made it for years. Now Addie and I have made some for you. When it was time to say goodbye, Addie, Michael, and Carl gave Coo a big hug. Summer fading, new friends' faces lightened the way home, said Coo. At the train station, Stillwater looked over at Coo. You may throw away your cup now, said Stillwater. Coo shook his head. Nearing my visit's end, summer now tastes of apple tea. I will keep my cup, said Coo. That ends. I hope you guys love this book. I love it too. Bye!